welcome to the 7th episode of Comic Convo. This, the special Avengers review episode. Not Marvel's Avengers Assemble, luckily. Seeing as I'm no longer in England, I don't have to worry about that stupid little marketing issue. But never mind about that. That's a different topic. All that matters is the film. The film is what I'm here to talk about. Now, this is going to be a spoiler review. I might get into some plot details, etc. So you're warned. If you complain, you're an idiot. So first, get into the basic synopsis of the film. It's all the characters that we've seen in the previous 5 films leading into this. So that's Iron Man 1 and 2, The Incredible Hulk, Captain America, Thor, with the cameos from Hawkeye and Black Widow, and Nick Fury, obviously. The film did well to cover all the main cast. They all got enough screen time out of all of them. Thor could have done with a bit more time, especially how he got back to Earth. That could have been developed further. Seeing as the main villain of the film was Loki, that relationship had been built up in Thor. You felt that there would have been more of a flow there, possibly to make it easier for people who hadn't seen the previous films just to get into the film and go with it. But there isn't that much payoff for people who have invested in these films. I think there was a bit of dialogue that explained it, but I felt you could have seen some of it rather than just been told about it. Hawkeye and Black Widow were actually better in the film. I thought they were going to be a bit stupid, a bit redundant, but they weren't. I felt they used them rather well. They had more of an espionage feeling with Black Widow. They used Hawkeye well. That wasn't really seen in the trailer. You saw him having a bit of a scuffle with Black Widow, but you didn't know that he was like taken over by Loki and that he was being used by Loki as a pawn. The one weak point I felt with Hawkeye was that his spell from Loki was broken too easily. Like, he got a concussion and he awoke and he was a good guy again. I know that they did that just because they needed him to be on the good side again. Quite simply, they couldn't really have a whole story arc revolving around Hawkeye because he's relatively unknown. It felt a bit weak and not very realistic, which I know is a stupid argument in a film with aliens and gods and people in big metal suits. It's the one thing that made me go, and took me out of the film a little bit, and I shouldn't take it so seriously. It just niggled me a little bit. The main thing that I was impressed with in this film was Mark Ruffalo and how he approached Bruce Banner, because it's something that we haven't really seen with the 2 previous incarnations, with Eric Bana and Edward Norton. He made him more rounded as a character. You could believe that he was this genius scientist and that he was a caring person and everything, but there was also this other side to him, this other guy, as he referred to. And he played someone who not necessarily had a split personality or dual personality, but someone who had a side of him that he wasn't proud of. He didn't want to be the Hulk, he wanted to be him, but only when it was necessary he would allow the Hulk out. It's something that we haven't really seen in terms of Bruce Banner and the Hulk, him in control of the Hulk, so that's quite a good direction. They made Hulk a really good character as well in the film. He had a lot of important moments in the film. He had a lot of funny moments in the film, which is something that you wouldn't usually assume Hulk to be. He's usually quite depressing, he's a loner and stuff, but he had quite a few good comedy moments. Actually, the whole film had great comedic beats within it. There was lots of witty lines, but they weren't played for fans, so they weren't in-jokes unless you're a fan of comic books or whatever, or of the characters that you'd get. There was a lot of just general humour that everyone could enjoy. It wasn't specific to the Avengers or comics, it was just a funny film, and that's kind of, I think that's going to be the biggest selling point of this film. That and the ridiculous action. That's going to be what really sets this apart as one of the best comic book adaptations that we've ever seen. And I do genuinely mean that. I think this is, without a doubt, the best superhero comic book adaptation ever. You can't go into this in the same way that you'd go and see a Christopher Nolan Batman film. That's obviously is very much grounded in reality. They're not the same type of film, and they're not trying to be. The main piece of the film, the epic battle where they're all fighting the aliens, is probably one of the best action set pieces ever, because it moves around with the characters. Like I said before, every character gets its time in the film, and this is done perfectly through this bit. You're not watching one character fight an alien, you're moving around the whole city as they all fight, so you get a glimpse of Thor here, and then Hulk smashes in, and then Iron Man flies around, and Black Widow fighting around Captain America with his shield. They're all in the same space, but you're encapsulating them all in that scene, so you're not left wondering what this character's doing. They're all involved, and that was just done very, very well. One of the best set pieces of an action film that I've ever seen. In terms of summer blockbuster action movie, The Avengers fits the bill perfectly. It's something that I honestly didn't think I'd ever get to see, and it's not something that I thought I'd ever get to see and be as good as I thought it could be, or better. I'm genuinely looking forward to individual sequels that they're going to do to all the films and Avengers 2. Especially with the after credits scene with Thanos. I'm not sure how they're going to play that or how they're going to do it, but whoever in their wildest dreams would have thought that they'd get to see Thanos in the film. So, in summary, I really enjoyed the film. Robert Downey Jr. plays the best Iron Man that we could ever asked for. I really like Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Chris Evans as Captain America is doing a pretty good job. Samuel L. Jackson is just playing Samuel L. Jackson in an eye patch, which is a nice nod to the Ultimate Comics, but apart from that, Joss Whedon did an amazing job with the dialogue and the direction of the film. There's one scene where they're all talking over each other and it felt very much like a Joss Whedon piece, just in costumes and stuff. He really has a good knack for getting these characters to interact with each other at the same time on screen in a way that I don't think could have been pulled off by anyone else other than him. I really, really hope that Marvel get him to stick around to do Avengers 2. The next film that's going to be coming out is The Amazing Spider-Man, so I'll probably do one of these for that then. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you later with some proper comic book reviews next time.